I want us to take a step back and just think about platforms as fundamentally different from everything we've been accustomed to in the industrial age of doing business. Traditional industrial businesses worked in a very linear and controlled fashion. And this is what I think of as pipelines. I refer to them as pipelines, where essentially value was created, shipped, and sold to the end customer. And the business model was usually very simple. You had a production process, you minimized the cost of the production process, and you delivered the output of the production process in exchange for some value. Whether it was a product or service, you just exchanged that for money, and that was the business model. What we're beginning to see today is that the internet enables an entirely different kind of business model. When the internet first happened in its initial days, the internet used to work like a pipeline-based model as well. So a lot of the initial industries that got disrupted, news, retail, all of them were examples of a more efficient pipeline with lower distribution costs, disrupting a less efficient pipeline with higher distribution costs because of the physical assets that they had to own. But today what we are seeing is that because of internet, because of digital, the design of business models is fundamentally shifting to what we now understand as the platform business model. A platform business model in itself does not own all the means of production. And please note the use of the word all, because they may own some of the means of production, but they don't own all of the means of production. Instead, they provide an infrastructure for external industry participants to come in and interact with each other. And they set the terms of governance that determine what kinds of interactions are encouraged versus not. So if we think of companies like Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, Google, all of these companies, at the heart of their business model is a producer of value interacting with the consumer of value, using the platform as a central infrastructure. We've seen this shift from pipelines to platforms happen across industries. And repeatedly, what we've seen is that as a platform model enters an industry, it opens out the way the market performs. It opens out participation for different market participants, and it helps the whole industry to grow. So we've seen these platforms fundamentally transform the way a lot of these industries work. We've seen this happen most prominently in telecom, where traditional telecom companies like traditional handset manufacturers like Nokia used to work in a very pipeline-based model where they would source applications and they would put them into phones and send out a portfolio of phones, a very linear production-based model. And what Apple and Android did was they created the phone as an infrastructure on which anybody could come in and create applications. Anybody else could come in and consume applications and thereby personalize their phone and create their own handset. And so we've repeatedly seen this shift from a pipeline to a platform-based model, most prominently in telecom and retail and media so far, but increasingly something that's going to happen across a range of other industries.